Welcome to this mindfulness meditation designed for building the character strength of love of learning. And so, with that, before we begin, just finding yourself that comfortable position to sit in, making sure that you're sitting with ease, but at the same time in a position where you're alert and attentive. And once you feel more settled in the body and with your posture, you may gradually start to close your eyes or lower your gaze as we begin with today's practice. And as we do that, to help us settle a little more in our mind and letting go of any thoughts and emotions that may become a barrier to our practice, let's take 3 deep mindful breaths. So just taking the deep inhale, filling up your lungs as much as possible, and then a gentle, gradual exhale, and doing this a couple of more times at your own pace, but just remembering to bringing mindfulness to the breath and letting go of thoughts and emotions. And now, when you feel comfortable returning to the natural rhythm of the breath, and just noticing the breath as it comes in, fills up your lungs, and then the gradual exhale, and just for the next couple of minutes, continuing to noticing the breath and being aware of every single part of the cycle of breathing. Just being aware of the breath coming in, the pause before it starts to leave again, and then the pause after which it starts entering our body again. So just being curious of this entire cycle of breath. And now when you feel comfortable, gradually opening your eyes and just picking any object kept in your vicinity, an object that is portable, which you can hold in your hand. Could be a phone, a pen, a marker, a glass, a cup, just anything small and portable, even your spectacles. Just being aware of this one object for these next 5 to 10 minutes. And today we're going to look at this one object as though we've never seen it before, almost. As if we are an alien or we're a very, very small baby who's looking at it from a beginner's mind. So, just as you see this object, and we'll explore it through various senses, beginning by the sense of sight. So, noticing how many different colors can you see on this object? Too often we think of these things only in terms of one color or two, but seeing if you can see different colors and different shades of the same color. They could be a byproduct of manufacturing or something that's happened because the product has been worn out. But just noticing different colors that are there on this object. And then after that, moving on to exploring different markings and writings on it. So just noticing if the object you're holding has anything written. And if it is, noticing how many different fonts have been used. And perhaps how many different font sizes have been used. Bringing this sense of curiosity and deep examination of just this one object. And if your object has multiple parts to it, like an highlighter, you may gradually remove a part or two of it and notice if there is any color or any encryptions even on the part in the inside. And now noticing how many different kinds of curvatures does this object have. So just noticing how many curves it has and how many points where it joins or where the edges are rough. Again, if your mind wanders, just keep bringing it back to observing this entity as best as you can. And now, as we move on from the sense of sight, just making that final check of anything that you notice about this object that you may have never noticed before. Maybe there are lines on it that you've never really experienced or seen. And maybe there are scratches. So just making that final visual inspection of the object. And then, with the object still in your hands, to explore the other senses, maybe just close your eyes now. And the next sense that we'll explore this object from will be the sense of smell. So just bringing the object close to you and being curious about what the smell is of this object. It could be of aroma or a fragrance which is familiar, or something that's completely new. So just learning about this object from the sense of smell. As we now move to the sense of sound. And for that, it might just help us to try and create a sound out of this object in different ways. So you may start by tapping on the object and just noticing the quality of that sound which comes when you tap. May be very different from tapping on a steel bowl or on wood. Just noticing the quality of the sound when you tap. And now from the tapping, moving to scratching the surface of the object and just sensing into the quality of the sound as you do that. And seeing if that quality of the sound is something that you had ever before experienced with this object. And now, instead of tapping or scratching, just rubbing the object with some force. And again, noticing this quality of sound and how it's very different from the quality of the sound when you were scratching or tapping, even though it's exactly the same object. And now, when you're ready, moving from the sense of sound to the sense of touch. And with that, just beginning by holding this object in your palm and feeling the pressure that it creates when it rests in your palm. Feeling where there is more heaviness and where there is less. And feeling how those sensations feel against your palm right now. And now moving to touching the individual parts with your eyes closed. So just rotating this object or moving this object in your hands. You can use one hand or both your hands. But just examining how the surface feels. Is it smooth or is it rough? Are there parts of it which have indentations and parts that are completely even? Is the curvature more curvy or are there distinct edges that you can feel? Just examining this object through the sense of touch. And now making this final inspection with the sense of touch, ensuring that you haven't missed out on any part of the object, feeling the sensations of smoothness, roughness, indentations, or anything that all that comes up. And now, when you're ready, gently let go of the object, keeping it back on the table or wherever it was earlier. and recognizing that you spend these last few minutes just bringing a sense of deeper curiosity to learning more in detail about one single object in so many different ways. And just as it is with the object, with greater mindful awareness, you can bring this love of learning to the depth of any topic whenever you want. And so, with that, just returning now to observing the natural rhythm of the breath. As the breath comes in, just letting go of any thoughts and emotions, and gently returning to the breath. And as we come to the close of the meditation, just knowing that whenever you want to build or enhance this character strength of love of learning, you can always return back to this meditation session again, hopefully with a different object this time. And so, with that, you can gently now close this practice and open your eyes as the bell rings to indicate the end of the session.